we thought that it could be nice to give war refugees an opportunity in freedom and to show the world that a free market can also solve social problems. We were thinking that maybe we can help a group of people coming from those areas to rebuild themselves in freedom, to maybe work in freedom 3-4 hours per day in return for new homes for them and their family. Of course, each individual case is different, but yeah, work a little bit there, maybe in the around the maintenance, around the hospitality part, but also be exposed to opportunities from the outside world, because the goal is that they will not work for freedom all their lives, right? I would see them working for freedom for 6 months or maybe 1 year of kind of recovery. And then we would love to see them just like I would like to see my kids one day when I will have ones, flying away, finding their own way, opening their own businesses, starting their own farm or whatever they want to start. That would be great.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another enlightening episode of Age of Reinvention, Eco-Living, Free Cities, and Intentional Communities. I'm your host, Emily Bron, and I'm here today to guide you through the inspiring ideas and innovative living projects shaping our future. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of decentralized, self-sufficient villages and towns with two remarkable guests from FreeThem Company. Joining us is Sofer, the visionary CEO committed to building these off-grid sustainable eco-villages, and Zuzana Martakova, the passionate advocate for individual freedom and community connections, who handles communication and community at FreeThem. Or brings over 15 years of leadership experience managing industrial and real estate projects, founding successful businesses, and driving ecological sustainability. Zuzana, with her deep passion for libertarian philosophy and community building, is dedicated to connecting like-minded people and promoting freedom-oriented communities. We will explore their journeys, discuss the philosophies guiding their work and life, and learn how they envision a future where communities thrive harmoniously with nature and individual liberties. So let's welcome Or and Zuzana to the show.
Hello.
Hi, Zuzana.
Hi,
Or.
Emily.
Hello. Hi.
I'm happy to see both of you in my studio. I know Zuzana is speaking with us today from the magnificent Prague, and Or is in Barcelona. By the way, both cities are my most lovely cities, and they compete in terms of beauty, historical heritage, and culture in general. But we are dreaming and speaking about future of living outside of the cities. And I will start asking with Or, okay? Zuzana, if you feel that you can add some valuable or additional point of view for the same question, please do not hesitate to do it. Just raise your hand or do it anyway.
I will.
Yes, but I believe it's better to start and ask particular questions, because I'm dealing now with the two different brilliant people, and each of you has your own history, own character. And even before starting questioning Or, I believe that I need to start with some terminology to clarify to our followers what the FreeThem Company is about. Because when we speak about decentralizations, and now I'm reading from your website, and you say we are creating freedom to decentralize ourselves from mainstream society, politics, and media, and we wish to attract residents who want to do the same. Digital nomads, remote workers, homeschooling families, Bitcoiners, anarcho-capitalists, libertarians, so on, to create a strong, thriving community. All our future towns will be able to stand on their own and will most likely even offer some sources of independent energy, such as biogas, to the outside world. The foundation of freedom is individual freedom and privacy. We will use prefab materials for constructions, housing, and utilize the build-to-rent model, housing, and it is to be available for the rent. Just to preface of our conversation, or as a CEO of FreeThem, can you explain your vision for decentralized and self-sufficient towns and what inspired this path for you?
I think we all have learned how the impact of government on our life can be sometimes significant is one way to say it, but it can go to the negative side, as we've seen many times in the past, in the wars that is happening right now, and obviously with what happening with COVID.
Mhm.
So I think that as individuals, I think each one of us felt this by himself, that the situation has to change. We cannot be dependent 100% on the decisions of politicians. They're good with talking about international relations and creating conflicts and stuff like that. And I think eventually, as human being, what is common between 99% of us is that we want to live in peace, right? That we want to prosper, we want to take care of our families. There is a big vacuum there because we live in a mindset that the people who are responsible for those things should be politicians because they run the countries. And if we let this continue, I'm sure it can go even more south. So that's pretty much what drives me, seeing all these things happening in the last, I would say, 2 decades of my life, when I was more aware of what's going on outside of my own bubble, and it was cooking inside of me for a long time. And what happened in COVID actually gave me this, maybe pushed me to the wall when I had to shut down my business and I had to start something. I knew I had to start something totally new. So it was a good opportunity for me in all senses, my personal life and what was happening in the world, to trigger an action. And so this is what drives me to start FreeThem. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I can share with you. Can we please clarify when you say decentralized, what do you mean? You will have your separate water supply, electricity supply, probably internet supply. In what sense you decentralized from society around?
So first, we understand that since COVID, something have changed. Remote working and making business communication online, it is legitimate right now worldwide. So we're using this opportunity to decentralize. So basically, we see an opportunity that has come to us by either by mistake or by plan, with the COVID. But it gave us the opportunity, which is, I think that if we don't take this opportunity right now and get out of those busy centers, because this is what is causing us to centralize. If the whole economy, if let's say very high percentage of meaningful economy transactions are happening inside cities, and for decades, for centuries, we are going to that direction. In this time in the history, is for the first time we can actually go to the opposite direction. And this is what we mean by using this opportunity to decentralize. So what we are doing as FreeThem is that we recognize the opportunity, and then we provide all that we think society would need to make this shift, to make it easier and more possible to more people. And yeah, and by that, we are already physically far away from that noise culture that is going crazy, crime that is rising in cities, cost of living, all these things that are eventually taking out your freedom because you're working to get yourself income to have more and more freedom. Eventually, this is the goal of most of us, right? To have the ability to buy and do whatever we want. But this is not helping us, this system. So again, we recognize that it's a one in a lifetime, maybe opportunity before things go to the other way. And then, and just, we will see cities becoming more gray, more insecure. And yeah, this is where it goes. So it's now or never to change our destiny. And instead of ending up like in a science fiction horror movie where everything is dark and the buildings are 200 floors, let's spread, let's have each one with his own little bit of piece of land and peace of mind, because we need that to develop as mankind.
Okay, it's in a big sense, but in practical sense, speaking about communities, community infrastructure. So you will rely on your own water, electricity, internet, and it's all possible in today's.
Yeah, we're not going to have a satellite, our own satellite in space, maybe not at the beginning,
Yes.
but we can use Starlink or something like that. Yeah. So we are still going to be dependent in some way in different service providers, but they are
Yeah.
private service providers, no government involved. Yeah.
It's a very interesting concept, and we will discuss it later because we all wish to be independent from excessive government decisions and rules, but how it works out in reality, it's not always like we plan. But I'm still have a question. I know that Ayn Rand and Marcus Aurelius, known emperor and Stoic philosophers, inspire you. Let me read some famous quotes from Marcus Aurelius, because actually I like him much more than Ayn Rand, personally. And waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. If it's not right, do not do it. If it's not true, do not say it. Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. For somehow I associate these quotes with you, or even I don't know you enough. It's how I see you till today. And my question to you, how have their philosophies of the people, really brilliant people of different times, influenced your approach to personal life, business, and community building?
Wow, that's a very big question.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So you want to hear more about Marcus Aurelius, I think?
No, how
I
it's
think-
influenced you, because we
Yes.
all product, as they say, of books we read in the past, of music, of people we met along the life road, of our own thinking. So I'm trying to learn more about who is or Sofer with such a last name.
The reason I feel good about Marcus Aurelius and about Stoicism is that their direction is towards peace of mind. So this is something that is personal for me. Each one chooses his own drug. Yeah. I think that at some point in our life, we, after our crazy 20s and exciting 30s, at some point we seek to get a peace of mind, right? It's something that is personal. I wouldn't say that it's. I think that the whole character that I have, everything that I'm made of, is somehow getting out to the world through the project, through what I do. But those are many pieces, and this project is not about me. It's not about our Sofer. It's about all the people who had enough of the same thing and wants to build a new, freer life. So I'm not trying to shape the communities in the way I am or to my beliefs. I just want each one to live and let live. So I think that in terms of the philosophy, I think maybe Marcus Aurelius is not really the right example for freedom. But yeah, this is just different perspectives to how we live together, how we manage things together, how we stay calm, how we manage with no aggression. Yeah, this is where it comes from.
Okay. My next question. How, in your vision, strong, thriving community would be possible when we are speaking about the rental model in practice and residents which might only temporarily live in one or other community locations? Because to cement the community or to have community, you need to live for some time together.
Yeah.
Your freedom like model is rental. How it
Yes.
gonna work in your
First, so we wanted to avoid the regular community problem where everybody is enjoying democracy and arguing all day and eventually breaking down those beautiful communities. We've seen it for decades, at least with most of the eco village and those kind of communities that are emerging, individuals working together and merging. We saw that this is a weak point. We wanted to avoid this thing, so we developed that model, the build for rent, so we can maintain the type of governance we agreed on with our residents, because we're going to present to all our residents our the contract or a set of principles of how we expect them to behave with each other. It's nothing too, how I would say, it's nothing too intense in terms of hundreds of laws. No, we're not going to that direction. We are focused on basically the relationship between one another, the commitments of ours, the operator to the resident and the resident to the place, to the facilities. Communities, one of the weaknesses, one of the biggest, I will just repeat to go back to where I started. One of the biggest weaknesses of communities, as I see it, is that model that each one suddenly can decide to do whatever he wants, and we end up in a society again of either many rules or people who violate those rules. So,
so that's why you don't sell the homes, future
exactly,
homes.
exactly.
You don't want people to constantly in the place because you don't know how it's gonna work.
So we want them to be constantly in the place. We want them to stay long term. We are happy. We actually expect the communities to have at least 75% of the people to stay for long term. It's not just about short term. We're just saying that people can live together, but they don't have the ownership they can have in the future. They don't have the ownership on that particular house, on that particular land. So they don't really have the power to go fight with each other. If one person is violating the rules of the community, we can just ask him to leave.
So you will work on a yearly rental model or monthly?
There will be a short-term option and a long-term option. So you can live months, years, and then 1 year and then renew. Maybe we'll have an option for a long term for 5 years as well, but we will have to inspect that after the first or second year.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, along the road, some corners will be clarified and shaped. And now I am going to citate Ayn Rand. Individual rights. Oh, Zuzana, did you want to add something?
No, I'm just excited to hear your Ayn Rand quotes.
I didn't start it yet. Individual rights are not subject to a public vote. A majority has no right to vote away the rights of minority. The political functions of rights is precisely to protect minorities from oppression by majorities, and the smallest minority on earth is how does the governance model based on resident contracts operate in FreeThem Town, and what principles actually you described some guide these contracts? Because when I was listening you, it's again, it will be some minorities in community. Now we speak in particular communities, which might feel that they oppressed by majority of community, even based on contract. Like, how would you remediate such situation?
How would would that happen? Minorities within the community?
Yeah. No, there is people who think this way. And look, for example, even in libertarian communities, not even, people agree on like freedom principles. But when you go to the different practical living together, people have millions of different opinions. And it's matter of fact. And especially when people start to live together in kind of some isolated location, isolated from others, some tensions might happen. And some minority would not agree with what majority will impose on them. It's how they can think. And they say, based on Ayn Rand, we have our individual rights, not to subject to the public vote of community.
Yeah, of course not. Why do they need to? I don't see any kind of scenario that one group can oppress another group within freedom. It's just
not even oppressing. They don't like this rule. This was a rule.
For example, let's be more precise because this is very general. I cannot really.
Okay.
Please,
For example, Zuzana likes heavy metal music.
Yes.
And she put it on the full loud running. And I
Yes.
would like to meditate at the same time with my meditation music. And
Yes.
I'm not sure that you, like homes, like with all respect, I don't know, fully isolated from the noise perspective, especially when we speak about heavy rock music.
Mhm.
And I say it's not what I was agree with. I cannot live in such a noise. I came here outside of the city to meditate with the nature, to be together with the nature, not to have this heavy rock.
Yes, with Zuzana, it's a real problem.
Yes.
Probably. Yeah. Sorry in advance.
No, I have resolution for Zuzana, but I would like to hear from you.
Okay, so you mentioned in your question isolation of the houses. So this is the first thing. There should be quality of materials in there, and the ideas of having privacy and freedom is also built within the construction itself. So we're taking this into consideration that we want people to listen to high music, but if they will have their windows closed, you wouldn't hear anything. So this is something very serious in terms of the characteristic of construction that we do. So this is one. The second thing, we also build in distance. Each house will have distance from the other. Only the affordable category, or maybe student dorms or something like that, will have shared walls or something like that. So these two things are already helping the problem. Now, the third I would do is to measure the level of decibels that is allowed, maybe to give it some sort of a number, to make sure that, or to make it clear that above an X decibel that is getting to the other side, like Zuzana's house or your house, is there should be a limit. So this is something that we can do. But what I would suggest is that you go to Zuzana, or you just text her through the app and directly tell her that. And maybe you girls can, one of you can say, okay, do your meditation at 3 and I will do my heavy metal at 5. And it can work. This is what we expect, because people eventually need to solve these little problems. We don't want to be like. This is what we're looking for, like-minded people. So this problem should be solved easily. But if not, there is a common sense that we come with, and obviously it's live and let live. So if someone harms you and doesn't let you leave, he's violating the rules, right?
Okay.
But also, if I may step in, of
You
course,
can.
this is hopefully nonviolent communication. And if two parties do escalate it a little bit, hopefully they're able to talk to each other and solve the issue peacefully. However, if it does escalate a bit more, we will, of course, have dispute resolution in place. And we worked with some companies or have some companies in our eye to start working with for mediation of problems. Of course, nonviolent communication is the dream, but it's not always easy and not everybody is always capable of it. And so should it get to the point where these two involved parties are just not working with each other at all, we will have someone step in, of course, with their consent and solve the issue. And of course, if one party keeps violating whatever it is over a long period of time, then it will most likely need to escalate a bit further. But yeah, hopefully peaceful dispute resolution works.
Okay, I would just suggest to Zuzana to use two headphones. It's my opinion.
There's plenty of options, I'm sure.
Yes. And how can you create a cohesive community which is based on Ayn Rand's other quote? The first right on earth is the right of the ego. Man's first duty is to himself. And it sounds correct, but in community, it might not work when we have a lot of egos.
Maybe I can help with this. It's very easy. I don't know if you've been through a process of healing, right? Many of us did, maybe through COVID, maybe through whatever. I'm talking about healing your soul, right? Having bad habits, seeing yourself not going into the right direction, and then correcting yourself and going better. The product that you produce at that time, yourself, this self that you are improving, is coming out to the world. People get a better version of you, right? They probably get a less violent person, a person with more patience, a person with... So all these values are eventually helping if each individual is seeing himself and he makes sure that he's behaving in a way that is respectful. So then we don't have problems, don't we? So instead of pushing people to as a group, as a collective, we know the individual. If all the individuals are okay, the whole will be okay.
Okay. And I very like the latest addition in the amenities of your renders for the future community that you have. Community center with library, with a lot of books, including Ayn Rand and Marco Aurelius. But I believe there will be more books of different authors with different ideas. And by the way, the communication language is English, yes, in all of your communities. And
Yes, basically you're allowed to speak any language you want, as long as someone understands you.
no, but the common
The official
communication
language is
language
English.
for even contacts, for people, because I believe you want to attract people from different cultures, from different language roots, but people who speak English, or you might accept like some group of people from other countries. Like we need to communicate with each other, even we are from different countries. Am I correct? How do you see this?
Yes, of course. I think that, well, most people that travel and do relocation happen to cross through English at some point. But yeah, there are many Spanish speakers, French speakers, Germans that can speak German within themselves.
No, I understand, but there is the refugees. There's a lot of refugees over the last year. Group of people who are really relocating out of the need, like war or some disaster in their country, and they might come with a group, families. Why not? And
It's something that we need to, if a group like that is something we're going to tackle a situation like that, but very customized. It's very customized to the situation. We cannot say in general, every group that will come in, we will sort it out. It's something that needs to be built, implemented for the first time, and then tested.
so you will have some kind of eligibility process, questionnaire, just even for these people who come with a group to feel comfortable, because they coming with the hope to find place to live, and people who are living there already thinking about the same. So it will be still some kind of filter out situation of what kind of people would be accepted. Because again, speaking about the rental, and I understand there's rules written, but people are people and they're looking for places to live.
Yes, yes. But yeah, I think that this, we always say that the free market, in the free market, the market knows what he wants. He pays with his feet. So we have our unique philosophy. It's not a very common project. So I believe we will attract people that are looking for something similar. In case not, they will probably won't enjoy, or maybe they will look for something that is more being obligated to work together in the farming. They will not find obligations in freedom. This is why it calls freedom. But there are many communities that can. It's just a different concept.
Okay, thank you. Or as someone who enjoys nature, chess, and football, does this interest play some role in your professional life or influencing your decision making or maybe creativity somehow?
Yes, of course. Chess is always important. I wish I had started earlier. But yeah, chess is fantastic to whatever you do in life. It helps you understand that there is more than one step to calculate, which is important. And yeah, walking in nature is renewing brain cells, getting out. It's nice. I'm lucky to live by nature, and the last few years I stay very close to nature. And yeah, it's of course it also affected the way, when in this sense, maybe yes, I brought myself into there, but my love to nature, bringing the project also close to the nature, it is something that is very close to me and coming from me and from Zuzana too.
But where you were born, I just don't know, in a city or in some place
In a,
outside and raised?
I was born and raised in the suburbs of Tel Aviv, and it's not suburbs like American suburbs. It's not. It wasn't that busy, so you would feel like you're in a little town, basically. The houses, as I remember, we used to have, it was a single family, but we never had walls between the houses. This place was like a little town at that time when I grew up, and then it became like the center of the high tech industry. And regardless of the industry, which is great, we're developing, it's great. I have nothing against it. People have changed. We used to have, as I said, single family houses. The houses are still there. It's all pretty much the same. The only difference that they have walls between them, and very big walls. And so you don't really, even that you are outside of the city, you don't have that space to look into, to get out of the window or to go to the street or to go to whatever road and to see forward horizon. It became crowded. So yeah, I miss that. It was fun to come back from school, or even to run from the kindergarten all the way home without big risks.
Unfortunately, it's changing in many places of the world. But thanks to the freedom and people who are leading these projects, we feel that will be alternatives. But
Yes.
still, what challenges do you foresee in creating and maintaining self-sufficient and sustainable villages? And how do you plan to address them? And I will give you example, which I was thinking about. For example, you're building now, as far as I know, your first project in Portugal. And actually, I'm curious to know about other projects in different countries, but let's start from Portugal. For example, the future current socialistic, in my view, government in Portugal might interfere with some aspects of FreeThem community work or life, or impose some taxation, even though the initial contract you probably signed with local government was agreement that they will not do it. But they do it after a couple of years.
This is why we start in our first location, and we're going to continue like that in countries that are stable. They have some sort of law in there that is not a total chaos. So if a government, a municipality will break their contract, good luck. We're all facing the same law. And I don't see this as a problem. I know that Portugal, just like many other countries, they need help to develop the rural areas or semi-rural areas. They need us and companies like us. And in terms of taxes, people think that governments or many people that are, or maybe the government is transforming this information to us, that they always need, that more taxes means more revenue to the government. But many people understand that when you reduce the taxes, or many people, I'm sure all of them understand, that when you reduce the taxes, you actually create more prosperity, more jobs, more people get involved, people spend more, they can save more and then spend more, and the economy is even healthier.
In theory, it is, but in practice, I see like over the last year only the taxes is going up in Spain, in Portugal, actually in many countries. And let's be open, they're all leaning left, and governments can probably balance their balance sheet. So what they do, they impose taxes. They can name it different way, levies like green tax. It's what we have in Canada or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's we hope that they would understand that it's better to give people opportunity to develop businesses, to enjoy their life and give back to the country. But sometimes it's not going according to our understanding.
Yes. Look, there are some things we can control. There are some things we cannot control. Controlling the taxes, how much taxes people will pay into them.
Talk taxes, regulations. Like I'm speaking about general involvement in the life of community. They see there's prosperous community, like it's my scenario, with industrial, some good people, and you can milk them, you can get more from them. Okay, now they're working. Why not to impose green tax or biogas tax or some other tax, or put them in the condition, some local crazy mayor of the city. I don't know, by the way, where you're located now in Portugal, but it's a scenario which might be not in Portugal only.
Again, matter of measuring the risk. If we have an agreement with the government regarding a particular area, and as I said, governments are looking to develop those areas in general. There are grants, there are incentives. They're paying people money to move to these areas. So there is no conflict of interest here. If you have a particular example that they would come over and our residents, please let me know. But
That would be
general rule
Honduras,
are-
right?
No,
Right
yeah,
now,
I was thinking
prosper.
about the Honduras as a kind of real life example with really good projects that were launched and provided good results, like visible for local people. And
Yeah, but that's why we're looking, like Or said a while ago, this is why we look at economically stable countries, at least to a certain extent for the time being, and not places similar to Honduras that are just a little less stable, perhaps, compared to maybe our European, whatever, Western world standards.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So building in rural or semi-rural locations present unique opportunities and challenges. How do you select these locations, and what criteria are most important in your decision-making process? You already touched it. And in what countries and regions are you planning to build FreeThem eco villages?
Okay. Things that must be on that land is access to water. We need sun. The sun is something that is vital for the systems and for us, for the individual, and a place that we want to live in, right? People want to live to see the sun. I would say the location is important in terms of distance to airports. We want to be maximum 90 minutes from an airport. People can keep going with their lives, keep running with their whatever they do, if they need to fly and all that. So it would be accessible and fast, close to a highway, public transportation, close to nature, of course, place with less crime, with no danger of fires. There are really many little characteristics in there, but this is in general. I would say one more thing, maybe a place that you know when a kind of a home that when you wake up, that you don't need a vacation from. Okay, that when you wake up, you get out of your house and you have a nice view that allows humanity
Yes.
to
So what countries in your bucket list in this regards?
So we're thinking about, of course, we have Portugal now quite advanced. We are thinking about Texas in the US. We're thinking about some places in Central America, not many places, but some places. But yeah, as we said, places that are fairly safe and that we won't need to be in any kind of political risk or military risk or,
Not Spain, where you are now?
It may be something that I will add to this because Spain is a great example. Spain has all the fantastic conditions, also land price and that and all that. But unfortunately, in Spain, homeschooling is illegal, and homeschooling is a very strong part of decentralizing yourself. We will have people that will use homeschooling for their kids, and just as you mentioned before, so the government will not come in and look for troubles. We avoid that. So we just avoid these problems.